Hancock and Kelley.
Welcome back to Hancock and Kelley. Let's talk COVID and the governor's mansion. Governor Mike Parson talked with Fox 2 this week after he and his wife tested positive for COVID. The governor says the one thing that has him upset right now is when he's accused of not supporting mask wearing.
I've recommended wearing a mask from day one, almost 90 different times, over 100 times to the general public. And every day when I'm talking to you, I'll end up saying, that the social distancing, wear a mask, and personal hygiene. Those are all important, but that doesn't mean you're not going to get the virus.
John Hancock, you're up first. The governor says he's doing well. He doesn't have hardly any symptoms at all. His wife has some flu-like symptoms down in Bolivar. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, thank goodness that their situation is not as serious as it could be, and I'm grateful for that. There's so much wrapped up in this mandate of mask issue. The reality is that there's no way to enforce a mask mandate. What are you going to hand out $100 fines to people? Or are you going to arrest people? What the governor has said is that people ought to wear a mask, and he's been consistent with that, and he has abided by that. And most people do wear masks. There are people out there that just refuse to do it. Now, I think they're wrong, but they're not going to comply with a governmental mandate. I think the net effect of having a mask mandate versus encouraging people to wear masks is no different whatsoever. So I don't find any kind of fault with the governor, and I think he has set a good example in this regard.
Wow. Well, it is a good thing that the governor and his wife seem to be okay. Had the governor followed his own recommendations, John, I'm not sure he would have been in that position today. There's countless event after event, photograph after photograph, where we see the governor showing up with no masks, being quite Trumpian in his rhetoric, where he says, I can't mandate you to wear a mask, people have their own freedom, and he comes down with it. The best way that leaders can make change is to set an example, to tell the truth. The problem is we have a governor that's a lot like the president, who doesn't do that, who doesn't tell the truth. And now he has a significant opportunity to stand up and talk about how serious this virus is, to show that he stands behind his recommendations by his own actions. We've not seen that to this point.
Of course we have. Of course we have. He takes the mask off when he speaks. We all do. I'm not wearing a mask right now because we're talking and I'm socially distanced from everybody except maybe Gus over here. But the governor has set a good example in that regard. When he gets out of the car and he's going someplace, he's got the mask on. When he gets inside, he's got the mask on. When he gets up to the podium to speak, he takes the mask off. That's what everybody does.
John, unfortunately, we can't pull the clips right now, but there's clip after clip after clip of the governor being in major events, not wearing a mask, with hundreds of Missourians. 2 days before he was diagnosed, he was in a room, an enclosed room with 20 people not wearing masks. You're lying.
All right, so let's talk about the ballot. Something on there called Amendment 3. You're probably seeing signs about it, and that is the statewide vote on a vote that was called Clean Missouri. Okay, I'm going to try and tie this together so everybody can understand what's going on. In a nutshell, this ballot initiative is asking voters to reverse the changes to how the state takes up redistricting, which was passed overwhelmingly by voters 2 years ago. Well, the way it was written for this election didn't pass the muster, so 2 courts threw out the language as unfair, and it was rewritten in August to be on the November ballot. Well, voters in several counties got the old language on their new ballot when they tried to vote absentee, adding to even more problems. Okay, Michael, you're up first on this one. So many issues to take up here. I think people are finally understanding what we're voting on, but this has been confusing from the get-go.
Well, it's been confusing because of the Republicans. Look, this is nothing more than a play to undo the will of the people. The people spoke and said they didn't want partisan gerrymandering of districts that had taken place. They voted overwhelmingly for that. That's already passed. Now the Republicans are coming back from the legislature. The court slapped not once, not twice, having misleading information, and that's what this is all about. People need to vote no on Amendment 3. This is nothing more than overturning what you already voted for, which is to not allow the Democrats or the Republicans to gerrymander districts to be able to win elections. Simple as that.
Oh boy, where do you start here? Let's go back to the original initiative that the Democrats put on the ballot last election. It was the example of a spoonful of sugar helping the medicine go down. They had all of this, lobbyist gift bans and ethics and blah blah blah, and then buried under the sugar, Brown, was a undoing of Missouri's nationally recognized redistricting model, which was not a partisan; it was a bipartisan model. It required 5 Democrats and 5 Republicans to come together and have a majority of them, meaning bipartisan, to pass a map. And if that failed, it went to the courts. What the Democrats did is they ended that process, and they put the process in the state auditor's office, the only Democrat statewide elected official. That was highly political. And all this reform intends to do is go back to the system that existed, that states after state in this country are adopting precisely because it is bipartisan and fair.
If this is about a spoonful of sugar with bad medicine, John Hancock, then why did the Republicans load up the undoing of what they were saying with the same type of stuff? People knew what they were voting on the first time. They're going to know what they're voting on this time. And yet again, we're going to have to tell the legislature, when we speak, we've spoken. Quit trying to overturn the will of the people.
All right, here's another interesting thing to look for on Election Day. Yeah, there may not be long lines after all. The reason is all this early voting. More than half of all people say they plan to vote early. In Illinois, vote-by-mail ballots started going out on Thursday to a record 1.82 million applicants thus far. Election officials are universally encouraging people voting by mail to return the ballots as quickly as possible, given delays in the U.S. Postal Service delivery. In Illinois, ballots must be mailed and postmarked by November the 3rd and received by November the 17th, which, by the way, yes, is after the election. I think we got that part. John, start off with you on this. Are you voting early on this in this election?
Yeah, I'm going to vote by mail.
Okay.
But I'm not going to wait until the last minute to mail my ballot in. I think most folks aren't going to do that either. I do have a problem with states like Illinois, where they let the counting take place for 2 weeks after the election. That's ridiculous. The law in Missouri is a good one. Your ballots have to be in by Election Day. They have to be in by Election Day. Why? So they can be counted on Election Day. Why? So that we can have a result and be able to report out on election night who won and who lost. That ought to be the standard. It is not healthy for our democracy to have to wait days and weeks to get the result of an election. That inherently is going to inspire skepticism among the public, and that's not what we need now.
What's unhealthy for our country is that 200,000 Americans have died from a virus. We are offering, in a bipartisan way, an opportunity to vote from home. I will be participating by voting from home. This lunacy that the Republicans are trying to say, oh, well, the election's going to be stolen via, no, it's written there in the law. It was passed. All the ballots have to be cast and postmarked before Election Day. It wasn't us who chose to have this virus in this country. People need to be able to vote safely and that their vote's going to count. And that's what I'm encouraged to see is happening.
By the way, Roy Blunt did come out this week and said something along the lines of our elections have never been more secure. So Republicans have that. Still to come here on Hancock and Kelley, California makes a move to get rid of gasoline-powered vehicles. We'll explain how it works and how much longer new gas-powered cars will be sold in that state.